The story begins in the future, when the world had completely changed. The Earth had become so advanced that people were now divided into two groups. Those two groups were the educated and the uneducated. Two separate cities had been built all across the world, and there was a massive, heavily fortified wall standing between those two cities. One of the cities was for the uneducated people, and the other was for the educated people. The educated lived in a highly advanced city. They were given every benefit society had to offer. Everything they had was advanced. Even the government focused all of its resources on providing for them. On the other hand, the city where the uneducated lived was in terrible condition. They were denied even their basic rights. They couldn't even get 3 proper meals a day. They weren't given any kind of jobs. And no matter what they did, they were never allowed to enter the educated people's city. They were deprived of every benefit society had to offer. In other words, their living conditions were even worse than a slum. Now we see what France looks like. Just like everywhere else, the people here had also been divided into 2 cities. Those 2 cities were called Colony A and Colony B. Only 20% of the population was educated, the other 80% was uneducated, so the government completely separated them. They weren't allowed to contribute to the country in any way, because they were considered a burden on society. Meanwhile, the people living in the educated city were given high-ranking jobs. They also enjoyed every benefit the country had to offer, so the people of Colony A had no problems at all. On the other hand, the people of Colony B had been unemployed for many years, and their standard of living had become extremely poor. They could no longer accept this situation because they also wanted a better life. They wanted the chance to get an education and escape unemployment. But because of the world's current laws, they weren't allowed to do that. They had all been abandoned in a place that looked like a giant landfill, so they kept protesting every day, demanding the rights they deserved. But instead of helping them, the government did nothing for them. In fact, they kept them trapped behind a massive wall. Guards were always stationed in front of that wall. So if anyone, even by mistake, tried to cross it, they were killed immediately. Now we see the living conditions of the people in Colony B. Not only did they struggle to get 3 proper meals a day, but even the water supplied to them wasn't safe to drink. The water there was filthy and tasted salty. As a result, many people died from different diseases. Meanwhile, the people in Colony A drank completely clean, purified water. Then we meet a man named Richard. Richard lives in Colony A with his family. He works for a company called Aquacoli. His wife, Theso, works for the same company. It was the only company responsible for supplying water there. It provided water to the entire city. Richard's father, Cyrus, also worked for that company, but Cyrus held a very high-ranking position. The rest of the employees worked under his authority. Because of that, Cyrus was a very arrogant and selfish man. The company called Aquaveli also supplied water to Colony B, but water was delivered there only twice a month, so the water supply ran out very quickly. As a result, the people there used large amounts of drugs to keep themselves from feeling thirsty. Then one day, all the people of Colony B gathered near the wall, because their country's president was scheduled to hold a historic meeting there that day. The meeting was going to take place in Colony B. Before the president arrived, everything happening in Colony B was being shown live on every LED screen across the city, and everyone waited for their president to arrive. A short time later, the president arrived in Colony B. After arriving, she began speaking to the crowd. From her speech, we learned that about a year ago, some people from Colony B had kidnapped the president's husband. His name was Motoro. Motoro was France's Minister of Labor, and he had been kept hidden by the people of Colony B ever since. The people of Colony B had one condition for releasing Motoro. They wanted the wall between the 2 cities to be torn down. They wanted the president to remove the wall and give them the rights they deserved. They also wanted the opportunity to work. Only then would they release Motoro. The president then presented an offer to everyone. She said, "We're doing everything we can for you. We're even trying to improve your lives. But for now, this is the best I can offer. If you release Motoro, I'll take around 10,000 of you into the city, and I'll give them high-ranking jobs." Since the whole event was being broadcast live, everyone in the city was shocked by the president's offer. The people of Colony B were thrilled to receive the offer, but the people of Colony A were not happy at all because they feared their city's population would increase. Besides that, the people in the city didn't like the people of Colony B at all. They looked down on them like they were nothing but trash. They even had many negative opinions about them. That's why, for nearly 3 years, no one from the city had even spoken to the people of Colony B. They absolutely hated them. Meanwhile, we see the people of Colony B accept the president's offer immediately, and a short time later they released Motoro. The president was overjoyed to have her husband back, but we soon learned that just like the rest of the people in the city, the president didn't like the people there either. She also saw the people of Colony B as nothing but trash. But after her husband Motoro was kidnapped, the news spread across the entire world that the president of France's husband was being held captive by the people of Colony B, and that was extremely embarrassing for the president. So she came there that day and made false promises to the people of Colony B. She sweet-talked them into releasing her husband. The president's name was Natalia. Natalia had actually received a warning from the World Bank. They told her that if she continued to neglect the people of Colony B and ignored their concerns, action would be taken against her. That's why she made those false promises during the live broadcast, so the message would reach the World Bank, because the World Bank was closely monitoring the situation of the people in Colony B. After Motoro was released, Natalia had promised to give jobs to about 1,000 people from Colony B, so she arranged a job interview for them. At the interview, a single mother named Sia and one of her friends were selected. After that, many more people were interviewed, but they kept rejecting one person after another because they had made a rule. Anyone who used drugs or had a history of stealing would not be given a job. So those people were forced to leave, and that made them extremely angry, because according to them, they were forced to do those things. They used drugs to deal with their constant thirst, and they had to steal just to survive their hunger. If Natalia had provided them with food and clean water, they never would have been forced to do those things. But no one there cared about what they had to say. Meanwhile, we meet Sia's daughter, Nam. At the time, Nam was a high school student. She was talking with one of her teachers. Her teacher told her, "People don't need a job to live a free life. Anyone can live freely, even without working." But Nam didn't agree, so she replied, "I think real freedom comes from having a job, because we can clearly see what the people of Colony B are going through. They don't have jobs, and look how miserable their lives have become. Is that what you call freedom?" Then Nam gave the example of her own father. She told her teacher that about 13 years ago, her father had won a lottery. After receiving the prize money, he left this place and moved to Southern Europe. And ever since then, he had been living a luxurious life there. "My father has been doing great ever since he got that money. But look at us. We have no jobs, and we have no money. That's why we're living like this." Meanwhile, we return to the Aquavili company. Richard sees his boss sitting alone in one of the rooms. But when he walks over, he realizes that his boss is dead. Richard assumes that his boss died from the stress of overworking. Deep down, though, Richard is happy about it, because now he thinks he might be able to take his boss's position. He believes he's about to become the department chief, so he immediately calls his father, Cyrus, to tell him the news. Meanwhile, Natalia's husband, Motoro, was undergoing a medical examination. It was revealed that the people of Colony B had tortured him because they had been trying to get certain information out of him. Then one of the president's security officers came to see Motoro. His name was Jen. Jen asked Motoro whether he had revealed any of the president's secrets to the people of Colony B, but Motoro told him that he hadn't shared any information with them. Meanwhile, Natalia made a public announcement. She said that Motoro had fully recovered, so he was being reinstated to his former position. In other words, he had been appointed Minister of Labor once again. Meanwhile, we see Richard's wife, Theso. She was talking with one of her co-workers, Hen. From their conversation, we learned that Theso had been cheating on Richard and was secretly involved with Hen. The two of them were also making a plan. They wanted to steal a set of data from the Aquaveli company and sell it for a huge amount of money. If they managed to sell that data, they would become very rich. Then they planned to escape from there together and spend the rest of their lives together. But even after trying for a long time, Theso still hadn't been able to steal the data. Meanwhile, Everyone at the company had started to suspect Hen. They believed he might be involved in some illegal activity, so one of the company's departments had launched an investigation into him. That night, while Taiso was with her husband, Richard told her that the head of the department had passed away, so he wanted to apply for the position of department chief, and if he got promoted, his salary would increase significantly. Then he planned to enroll his daughter, Rachel, at Max Academy. Max Academy was the most prestigious school in the city, where the children of wealthy families studied. Richard had wanted to send his daughter there for a long time. He said, "If Rachel keeps going to an ordinary school like this, she'll have a lot of problems in the future. She won't be able to get a job at a good company, so I have to do this for her future." But Taiso replied, "Do you really think getting promoted is that easy? Do you think your selfish father is actually going to promote you? You know your father. If he had wanted to, he could have enrolled Rachel at Max Academy a long time ago, but he didn't, because he's always thinking about himself." After hearing all that, Richard didn't say another word. The next day, when Richard arrived at the office, he went to his father to talk about the promotion. And to Richard's surprise, his father, Cyrus, agreed immediately. Richard could hardly believe what he was hearing. He had wanted this promotion for a long time, but his father had always turned him down. Now his wish was finally coming true. Then Cyrus invited Richard to a major company party. Meanwhile, we see Hen, who was talking with one of the president's security officers. They were both at Aqua Valley now. And here we learn that they were actually on the side of the people from Colony B. They also wanted those people to have a better life. At the very least, they wanted them to receive the rights they deserve. They wanted them to be given jobs and contribute to the country's development. The two of them were also trying to damage Aqua Valley's reputation, because Aqua Valley was the government's largest company. If they could ruin the company's reputation, a lot of information about the government would come to light. And if that information reached the World Bank, they believed the World Bank would finally step in to help the people of Colony B. Meanwhile, we see Sia and her friend, who had been given jobs after being brought from Colony B to Colony A. Her friend's name was Lord. Both of them were extremely happy to finally have jobs. Everyone from Colony B who had been hired was placed into separate vehicles. Then they were taken into the city and assigned to different jobs. Each person was given work based on their education and qualifications. Here we see that Sia was assigned to work as a housekeeper at Richard's home. When Richard saw Sia, he was completely shocked because Sia looked exactly like his wife, Taiso. Meanwhile, President Natalia had a major event to attend. To promote the event, she had Lord, Sia's friend, kept in a separate location because the entire program had been organized around him so she could showcase her good deeds to the whole world. Meanwhile, the president's security team came to see Taiso. They took her away for questioning because she had been secretly meeting with Hen, who was connected to the people of Colony B, so they suspected that Taiso might also be working with Hen's group. Meanwhile, Richard was running late for the company event his father had invited him to, and he was supposed to bring Taiso with him, so Richard kept calling her over and over again. But Taiso never answered the phone. With no other choice, Richard asked Sia to dress up like Taiso. Then Richard took Sia with him to the event. They somehow managed to arrive on time, but both of them were nervous about being exposed. However, with his father's help, Richard managed to make a great impression on Aqua Valley's CEO. Meanwhile, after the security guards released Taiso, Jen came to see her. He asked Taiso about the data, but Taiso told him that she still hadn't completed the job. Jen became furious with her. Then he took her straight to Colony B. There was a group there called the Boys. They kept Taiso locked up as their prisoner. Meanwhile, Hen was also exposed at the company. For secretly plotting against the company, he lost his job, his money, and all of his property. He was also transferred to Colony B immediately. Meanwhile, no matter how hard Richard tried, he couldn't find any trace of Taiso. So the next morning, Richard asked Sia once again to go to the office and take Taiso's place. But Sia was terrified to do it, because if she got caught, she would be sent back to Colony B. But Richard reassured her. He told her that nothing like that would happen. In return for helping him, he also offered to pay her a large amount of money, so Sia agreed. Richard then explained everything about Taiso and carefully taught Sia everything she needed to do. After that, Sia went to the company to start working. Meanwhile, the news reported that on the very first day, people in the city had injured 20 people from Colony B. When Natalia saw that report, she became very worried because she wanted the whole world to see her as a good leader. She wanted everyone to believe that she treated the people of Colony A and Colony B equally, and that she provided the same opportunities to both sides. So to improve her public image around the world, she appointed Lord as her special advisor. She told him to say whatever the president's staff taught him to say during the TV program, and if Lord agreed to cooperate with them, they would pay him a large amount of money. But Motoro wasn't happy about it at all. He never liked Lord, because the people of Colony B had tortured him while he was being held captive, so he couldn't stand them. Meanwhile, Richard applied for the position of department chief. At the same time, Sia was gradually doing an excellent job handling all of Thiso's responsibilities. Meanwhile, we see Sia's daughter, Nam. At home, Nam finds an old newspaper. After reading one of the articles, she realizes that 13 years ago, her father never won the lottery. It was actually her mother who had won it. That discovery breaks her heart, because she realizes her mother had lied to her. She had always told Nam that her father won the lottery and abandoned them. Feeling upset, Nam leaves the house. While she is walking down the street, she meets a girl around her own age. The girl is a thief, but after talking for a while, the two of them quickly become close. They become friends. Nam then learns that the girl's name is Well. Well invites Nam to her home. By then, both of them are extremely thirsty, but they don't have any drinking water. So the two of them take drugs instead and end up lying there unconscious. Meanwhile, we see Thiso and Hen. Since they are both in Colony B now, they run into each other. Hen has joined the boys' group, the same group that is holding Thiso captive. For the first time, Thiso learns that Hen has been supporting the people of Colony B all along. Hen had never told her about that before. So Thiso becomes furious with him for deceiving her. Meanwhile, the police in Colony A continue investigating Hen. During the investigation, they identify 3 more women connected to him. All 3 of them worked for Aquaveli, and one of them was Thiso. In other words, Sia, who was pretending to be Thiso, was still working at the company. The police then brought all of them to the president's head of security, Jen. But when Jen saw Thiso, he was completely shocked, because he himself had left the real Thiso back in Colony B. So he assumed Sia was Thiso, let her go, and secretly followed her. Soon, Jen discovered that she wasn't Thiso at all. She was actually Sia from Colony B, the woman who had been given a job in Colony A. Jen immediately contacted the boys' group. He told them to get in touch with Sia as soon as possible. Since Sia was now working at that company as Thiso, they might be able to use her to steal the data. The boys' group then went to Sia's house to contact her. But when Sia arrived home, she couldn't find her daughter, Nam, anywhere. Just then, a man named Boris showed up. He was also a member of the boys' group. In fact, Boris was Nam's father. He had been secretly working with the boys' group. The reason the group operated in secret was because they were all working against the country's president, so they always had to stay hidden. To make this mission a success, Boris had joined the boys' group many years ago. After joining them, he even changed his name. Their real goal was to tear down the wall. They wanted to bring freedom to everyone living there. But since they were working against the government, they had no choice but to remain in hiding. If Sia's daughter, Nam, ever found out the truth, she would be heartbroken. Sia didn't want to put her daughter through that pain. That's why she had lied to her. Then Boris asked Sia for her help. He wanted her to steal the data from the Aquaveli company and bring it to them. But Sia told him that she couldn't do it. She refused. Meanwhile, we see Nam and Well. Nam had taken a large amount of drugs, so Well brought her to her teacher's house. Her teacher immediately called Sia. When Sia arrived there and found her daughter, she was overwhelmed with relief. Then Sia told Nam's teacher, Robinson, that she was planning to quit her job at Aquaveli very soon. She said she was only working there to save some money. Once she had saved enough, she would take her daughter and move to Southern Europe. She never wanted to drag herself or her daughter into the conflicts there. When Sia returned home, she discovered that her husband, Boris, had stolen all of her money and belonging. He did it to force Sia to work with their group. Now Sia had no other choice, so she joined the boys' group. The members of the boys' group gave her a small chip. They told her to plug that chip into one of the computers at the Aquaveli company. The next morning, it was revealed that Motoro had developed a serious illness. Motoro believed he had gotten sick because he had been held in Colony B. As a result, he became even more furious with the people there. Meanwhile, we see Hen. Hen learns that Boris hadn't given Thiso any water for the past 2 days. Because she was from Colony A, Boris wanted to make Thesos suffer the same way the people of Colony A had made them suffer by denying them water. Hen became furious. He immediately started fighting with Boris, but neither Boris nor anyone else in the group listened to him. They told Hen that if he sided with the people of Colony A, he would be punished just like Theso. They asked him, "Why do you care so much about Theso? When the people of Colony A have been making us suffer from thirst for years, did that never bother you?" Then Hen went to see Theso. He saw that Theso was suffering terribly from extreme thirst. She was on the verge of death. Hen couldn't bear to see her in that condition. So, with no other choice, he ended her life. Meanwhile, today was Richard's final interview. The final stage of the interview required him to terminate one of his longtime co-workers. Meanwhile, while Sia was working at the office, Richard's father, Cyrus, noticed her and called her into his office. There, he made an indecent proposal. He told Sia that if she agreed to do what he wanted, he would make sure Richard got the promotion. And once Richard was promoted, he would be able to live a luxurious life. Meanwhile, we see Nam and Well. They secretly entered Colony A through a hidden tunnel from Colony B, because there was no way they could cross the wall. The real reason Nam wanted to go to Colony A was to find out what kind of work her mother actually did there. She had already written down the address of the place where her mother worked. Just then, one of the guards spotted them, so Well immediately ran back to Colony B, but Nam escaped, ran away, and hid somewhere inside the city. After avoiding the guards, she somehow managed to make her way to Richard's house. Meanwhile, Sia was with Richard. There, Sia told Richard about what his father, Cyrus, had said to her. She told him that Cyrus had made an indecent proposal, and in return he promised to get Richard promoted. But instead of getting angry, Richard calmly replied, "You used to live in Colony B, so you don't understand the culture of Colony A. Things like this are completely normal here." Hearing those words, Sia was deeply hurt. She said to him, "Richard, you're a very selfish man. All you care about is your promotion." When Sia returned home with Richard, she was shocked to find Nam there. Meanwhile, an emergency warning was being broadcast throughout Colony A. Everyone was informed that 2 people from Colony B had entered the city. The authorities ordered everyone to help find them as quickly as possible. Sia became extremely worried. She had no idea what to do next, so Richard decided that late that night, he would secretly take Nam back to the entrance of Colony B. Later that night, when the city became completely quiet, Richard set out to take Nam back to Colony B. Sia went with them. On the way, Richard apologized to Sia. He said, "Please don't misunderstand me. I never meant to hurt you. I can do anything to get that promotion. I've been waiting for it for many years, but I'm only doing this for my daughter. I want her to study at Max Academy so she never has to end up in Colony B. Tell me, what father would ever want to give his child an uncertain future? Besides, my daughter has no one else. I found out that her mother betrayed me and was having an affair with a man named Hen. I think she ran away with him, so I've given up on her. Now the only thing I worry about is my daughter." Eventually, Sia managed to return home with Nam. Sia asked Nam why she had gone there. Nam replied, "I wanted to see how my own mother had sold herself for money." Hearing that, Sia became furious. She immediately slapped Nam across the face and said, "How dare you talk to your mother like that? Is this what I taught you? Who have you been spending time with? Who has been filling your head with these ideas?" But Nam answered, "Maybe I've become a bad person. Maybe I couldn't grow up to be like you. But if you're such a good person, then why did you lie to me? Why did you tell me that Dad abandoned us?" After saying that, Nam lay down, heartbroken. So Sia finally told her the whole truth. She said, "Your father is actually part of a group that opposes the government. I begged him not to get involved, but he refused to listen and left us anyway. That's why I lied to you, because no matter what I said, your father wasn't coming back, and knowing the truth would only have hurt you even more." The next morning, Motoro appeared on a live broadcast. During the broadcast, he openly declared that he hated the people of Colony B. He called them a burden on the country. He also announced that they would soon launch an attack on Colony B. When Natalia saw this, she became extremely worried, because she knew she would be held responsible. So Natalia went straight to see her father to ask for advice. He was the country's former prime minister, In fact, when he was president, he was the one who had ordered the construction of the wall. Then Natalia met with her father. The two of them had a discussion. A short time later, Natalia had an important program to attend. Lord was brought in for the event. Natalia instructed Lord to tell everyone how the president had completely changed his life. She also told him to make up stories about how hard the president worked for the people of Colony B. In reality, the president of the World Bank was about to meet with Natalia to discuss the country's economy. So Natalia wanted Lord's video to go viral before that meeting. If it did, she believed the World Bank would provide her government with a large amount of funding. Meanwhile, at the Aquacoli company, Richard had a rival who was also interviewing for the promotion. But she had discovered the truth. To force Richard out of the interview process, she blackmailed him. She threatened to expose the fact that Richard had deceived the company by bringing Sia in to impersonate Theso. Richard repeatedly begged her not to tell anyone, but she refused to listen. In a fit of rage, Richard struck her with tremendous force. As a result, she died on the spot. Not knowing what else to do, Richard asked his father for help. Together, they made the body disappear. But afterward, Richard was overwhelmed with guilt. He even began to hate himself. Then he confessed everything to Sia. He told her that his fear of losing the promotion had driven him to kill someone. He never imagined he could become such a terrible person. He couldn't believe what he had done just for a promotion. As Richard broke down while talking about it, Sia comforted him. She reassured him, saying that he wasn't a bad person. She told him that he was a good man and that the woman had treated him unfairly. Then, Richard embraced Sia, and the two of them grew much closer. Meanwhile, we see the boys' group appear in public for the first time. Their leader was there as well, and we finally learn that the leader of the boys' group was none other than Nam's teacher, Robinson, who had been secretly leading the organization all along. Now the entire goal of the boys' group was to tear down the wall around Colony A and take control of the city. But to make that happen, they needed Sia's help, because Sia was the only one who could steal Aquaveli's data. The next day, the president of the World Bank arrived to meet with Natalia. Natalia held a private meeting with the president. She explained how she had changed the lives of the people in Colony B by giving them jobs. She also said, "I want to do even more for the people of Colony B, but I don't have the funding I need, so I'd like you to help provide it." The president replied, "I can arrange funding for you, but the problem is that your international reputation isn't very good. Your husband isn't qualified to serve as Minister of Labor." And just a few days ago, he publicly announced that he planned to attack the people of Colony B. Even after that, you've still kept him in his position. As soon as she heard that, Natalia removed Motoro from his position. She also ordered that every video of Motoro speaking against the people of Colony B be taken down from social media. As a result, the president was pleased and agreed to provide the funding. Later that night, Motoro told Natalia that when the people of Colony B had tortured him, he had revealed all of Natalia's secrets to them. Since Aquaveli was the country's only water supply company, it supplied clean drinking water to the people of Colony A, while sending dirty water to Colony B. Aquaveli also supplied far more clean water to Colony A than its people actually needed. As a result, there wasn't enough clean water left for Colony B. Because the people of Colony A were wealthy, Aquaveli earned huge profits from them. Even so, Natalia never took any action against the company because she personally received a large share of its profits. And Motoro had revealed that secret to the people of Colony B. So now, to protect her position, Natalia knew she had to do something. Meanwhile, we see Richard, who was at Aquaveli's headquarters. During Richard's promotion interview, he was asked several questions. Richard answered them using the responses that Sia had prepared for him. Sia had also created some fake documents to support his promotion. Because of that, Richard outperformed everyone else, and in the end, he got the promotion. Meanwhile, we see Nam. Nam and her friend, Well, had gone to the boys' group's hideout because she wanted to meet her father. Her father's real name was Atham, but everyone there told her that no one named Atham was with them because they all knew him as Boris. So they told Nam and Well to leave, but the two of them stayed hidden nearby. While hiding, they secretly listened to everyone's conversation. That's when Nam discovered that her school teacher, Robinson, was actually the leader of the boys' group. Meanwhile, Sia secretly entered Cyrus's office because the company's main computer was located there. After getting inside, Sia managed to copy the computer's data onto the chip. But just then, Cyrus walked in. When Cyrus tried to force himself on her, Sia struck him, grabbed the chip, and ran away. Cyrus immediately called Richard and told him that Sia was working against the Aquavelli company. When Sia returned to Richard, he slapped her hard. The chip fell to the floor. Richard demanded to know why she had done it. Sia then told Richard the whole truth. She explained that she had been forced to work with the boys' group. Just then, Richard's father, Cyrus, arrived and ordered Richard to kill Sia. But Richard had fallen in love with Sia. Besides that, Sia had done so much to help him get promoted. So instead of killing her, he decided to take her back to Colony B. But on the way, Cyrus's men captured Sia. Instead of killing her, they decided to use Sia to track down the boys' group. So they released her and ordered her to keep working with them. To save her own life, Sia agreed. Then the president's head of security, Jen, came to meet Sia. While he was discussing their mission with her, Cyrus's men suddenly appeared from behind and captured Jen. Meanwhile, Natalia promoted Lord for working with her. Lord was now allowed to bring his family to Colony A, but when he asked his wife to come with him, she refused because she didn't want to be part of all the corruption and injustice. So Lord returned to his apartment, feeling disappointed. A short time later, one of Natalia's men came to Lord and told him that Natalia wanted him to meet with Motoro. But when Lord went to Motoro's house, he found Motoro dead. Someone had murdered him and thrown his body into the water. Before Lord could even understand what had happened, a young woman arrived and shot him dead as well. That woman was Natalia's daughter, Joy. In reality, the whole thing had been Natalia's plan. After that, Natalia appeared before the media and announced that Lord had murdered her husband, Motoro. She claimed that when Lord tried to escape, her security guards had shot and killed him. Natalia then blamed the entire incident on the people of Colony B. She declared that the people of Colony B were jealous of the people of Colony A and that the two groups could never live together peacefully. She called them violent, unruly, and dangerous people. For that reason, she said she would no longer allow them to enter Colony A. She also announced that the program to give jobs to the people of Colony B would be canceled immediately. After that, Natalia sent her forces into Colony B to capture the boys' group. Meanwhile, the members of the boys' group learned that Sia and the security officer, Jen, had both been captured. Hen insisted that they had to rescue them no matter what, but their leader, Robinson, said they couldn't risk the entire mission just to save two people, because doing so could expose all of them. Meanwhile, Nam overheard their entire conversation. Since her mother was in danger, she and her friend Well set out on their own. Meanwhile, when Richard arrived at the office for work, he found the chip that had fallen to the floor earlier. Out of curiosity, he inserted the chip into his computer. After opening the files, Richard was completely shocked. The files contained all of Aquavelli's secrets. They revealed how the company had been supplying dirty water to the people of Colony B for years. They also showed that in order to provide an excessive amount of clean water to the people of Colony A, the company had limited Colony B's water supply to only twice a month. After learning the truth, Richard felt devastated. Without wasting any time, he leaked all of the files to the internet, so the truth about the government and the Aquavelli company would be exposed to everyone. He also wanted the World Bank to learn the truth. After that, Richard took his daughter, Rachel, through a secret passage into Colony B. Once they arrived, he began searching for Sia, because he had no idea that Cyrus had captured her that day. Meanwhile, the members of the boys' group saw that the government's and Aquavelli's corruption had been exposed to the entire world. They were overjoyed. Meanwhile, Natalia appeared on a live broadcast and claimed that there was a conspiracy against the government. She insisted that she had done nothing wrong. She also announced that whoever had spread the fake information online would be brought to justice very soon. Meanwhile, while Rachel was searching for Sia, she found Nam. From Nam, Richard learned that his father, Cyrus, was holding Sia captive. Richard then asked Nam to look after Rachel. He promised Nam that he would rescue her mother no matter what. Meanwhile, under the leadership of the boys' group, the people of Colony B rose up in protest. Together, they began tearing down the massive wall. Natalia became terrified. Even her entire security force couldn't stop them. Meanwhile, when the people of Colony A learned that Natalia had committed such terrible injustices against the people of Colony B just for money, many of them turned against her. Some even quit their jobs in protest. Meanwhile, alongside the boys' group, large numbers of people crossed from Colony B into Colony A. But after entering the city, Boris separated himself from the group. He went straight to search for his wife, Sia. Meanwhile, Richard confronted his father, Cyrus. He demanded to know where Sia was being held. But just then, government police officers arrived. They had discovered that Richard was the one who leaked the government's secret files. The police arrested him and locked him up in the same place where Sia was being held. Richard was overjoyed to finally find Sia. Meanwhile, the entire city had turned into a battlefield. More and more people abandoned Natalia's side and joined the people of Colony B. As the wall collapsed, thousands of people poured into Colony A. Meanwhile, Natalia stood in the distance, silently watching everything. She had finally accepted that she had lost. Just then, her daughter, Joy, walked over to her. Joy said, "What you did to the people of Colony B was wrong. I'm going to tell the media everything you've done. After that, I'm joining the people of Colony B." With that, Joy walked away. Meanwhile, Cyrus ordered his men to shoot Richard. Just as one of the guards was about to pull the trigger, Sia's husband Boris arrived. He managed to save both of them. Meanwhile, Robinson and his team reached Natalia. At first, it looked like they were about to kill her, but just then, Joy arrived and spoke to Robinson. She told him that she wanted to join their team. She also said that she wanted Robinson to become the next president, and she promised to help make that happen. Meanwhile, Sia reunited with her daughter, Nam. Nam's father, Boris, was also there. It was the very first time Nam had ever seen her father. But to Nam, he was nothing more than a complete stranger, because he had never been there to raise her. Then Sia asked Richard, "I betrayed you, so why did you come to save me?" Richard smiled and jokingly replied, "Because you're my wife. I love you." Hearing that, Nam was truly happy, because her mother had finally found a good husband. At least now she could finally live a peaceful and happy life. After all, Nam knew how much her mother had suffered throughout her life. Richard then invited Nam to become part of their family, but Nam wanted to live life on her own terms, so she wished them both well and walked away. Later, at a press conference, Robinson arrived with his team. He addressed the nation, saying, "Starting today, this country's laws are going to change. There will no longer be a wall of division between people. Everyone will live with equal rights. Because every human life has value, and from this day forward, our mission will be to stand against every country that follows these cruel and unjust systems." After that, the people elected Robinson as the new president. Later, Robinson went to meet Natalia's father, the former prime minister. There, we finally learned that Robinson was actually Natalia's own brother. Unable to tolerate the corruption and injustice of Natalia and their father, he had gone to Colony B and become a teacher. Just then, Natalia arrived. She told her father, "From now on, I'll stand beside my brother, Robinson. Together, we'll build a country free from corruption."